Shane Gillis, live on stage.
I'm a bit of a history buff, which, by the way, that is early onset Republican.
His biggest tour ever is coming to Des Moines.
You're a white dude in your 20s and 30s, and you're like, I can't stop reading about World War II. It's coming, bro.
See Shane Gillis with his unmistakable comedic style. Live in Wells Fargo Arena Saturday, May 31st. Get tickets now at iowaeventcenter.com. For more, visit ShaneMGillis.com.
Love is in the air here at Wells Fargo Arena. Join the Iowa Wild on February 14th for Love in the Wild Night and February 15th for Pink in the Rink. Get your tickets now at iowawild.com.
College wrestling is back on Iowa PBS. Tune in for 5 weeks of exciting action and online at iowapbs.org.
Murph and Andy, proudly presented by Ramsey Subaru and BMW of Des Moines. Live and on demand across Iowa everywhere. From the Channel Seed Studios. This is Murph and Andy. Murph and Andy. Connected by Cellular Advantage.
Hey, welcome to Murph and Andy. I'm Murph. He's Andy. We are live on Iowa everywhere. It's good to have you with us today. And Andy, how are the Super Bowl 59 party preps going? Or they're not?
Well, we've got to work, so that always throws a wrench in our gears.
Yes,
Isn't
it
that
does.
a bummer? Oh, man.
It is. I've been invited to a couple of parties this year and had to decline.
You just know that they're going on. You know, there's all that good food out there, all these plans, and we gotta work. I think in the past I found a way to run home quickly after a show or something. I don't recall. Maybe we should do something at work, but there's not a lot of people there, so I feel like that would fall on us.
Yeah, it would be
Me
a
and Sears.
potluck for a few people. Yeah. I think people usually bring in snacks. I know I usually do because early in the day here, it's just a big grazing day. AD, you aren't working Sunday night. You throwing a big rager?
No, definitely not. Gonna kind of keep it low key. The family will be here. I think my brother-in-law is coming over. My wife likes to make, a bunch of game day snacks. So we'll have a good time. I'll come up with some sort of gambling game for the family. We'll set the over-under on Taylor Swift appearances and the coin flip and things like that and have some fun with it. But no, I'm not a big rager.
Yeah, you got juice boxes lined up. You'll be ready for this.
Oh, yeah.
Some candy.
Oh, yeah.
Bunch of Skittles. Yeah, it is a fun day, but the Monday kind of hangs over it. So that leads us to our quickie poll from WCI Pools and Spas in Ames and Urbandale.
Which would you rather see, Super Bowl Saturday or a national holiday on Monday?
I suppose everybody answers as, you get it from your own perspective.
It's how it applies to your own work-life situation.
Yeah, for me, I'd rather have Super Bowl Saturday because I'm going to have to work Sunday, not have to work. I get to work Sunday. So I would vote Super Bowl Saturday. I've been saying that for a long time. And I don't really see National Holiday Monday as a possibility, but I'll go Saturday. How about you?
Probably neither one of these is a possibility, right? I mean, the NFL
not
is
right
so
now.
set in what it's doing. But I would rather see Super Bowl Saturday. I feel like if it's National Holiday Monday, it's going to be one of those holidays that not everybody observes. I mean, it's not going to be like Memorial Day.
Yeah.
Or Labor Day. I mean, it would be like a President's Day, where like the banks are closed, but that's it. So if you're a banker, you'd be okay. Like letting the kids out for that. It's hard to imagine that happening.
And that's like Matt on Twitter chimes in. I vote for a national holiday as long as my kids' daycare and preschool aren't closed. Because if they are, that kind of defeats the purpose. Right?
That's a good point by
if
Matt.
My kids
here
are home. It's not really a holiday.
Matt's thinking ahead. Yeah, that is a good point. Now, excuse me, President.
But if it's
Trump
on a Saturday, you're good, right? I mean, it's just
Yeah.
like you do every Saturday.
And I realize some people do work Saturdays as well, but it would certainly be better. There aren't as many ratings points available on Saturday, so that's why it's not going to be on a Saturday. President Trump has said he will attend the game at the Superdome. So this is Super Bowl 59. Andy, AD, how many acting presidents do you think have attended a Super Bowl?
0.
I bet he did his first term, so this would be the second time.
It's 0. Wow. This would be the first time in 59 years a sitting president has attended the Super Bowl. That surprises me because we've seen many presidents at World Series over the years. That kind of even became a tradition probably way back in the 1920s or so.
Yeah. I mean, it's a hard place to protect a president. I imagine that takes attend it, like we'll sit down and watch it. That would take up a lot of seats, right?
See, and they don't have the ceremonial thing. Like, I guess you could go out there and flip the coin, but that's not a thing like the first pitch in baseball or like, gentlemen, start your engines. There's really nothing like that. This is the halftime. So at some point when we elect a musician president, which certainly will happen, maybe they can play the halftime show and that'll be like the thing, or the sing the national anthem. But yeah, there's
Stephen A. Smith. He's apparently thinking about running for president. He could just go out there and shout for 20 minutes.
It could be The Rock, and he could play for one of the teams.
Yeah, there you go. Cooper DeJean, who is from Odebolt, Iowa, and of course was an All-American at Iowa. What question do you think he's getting the most this week? He said it's not even close.
Did you grow up on a bean farm or a corn farm?
No, his questions he's getting the most are about Caitlin Clark because she's a Chiefs fan. So he says he's being asked about that all the time. And also he was asked, it's a common question at the Super Bowl, who's the most famous person in your contacts? And he thought about that for a minute. And he's like, I guess at this point it's Caitlin Clark. Guest House Tavern and Oyster in West Des Moines sets the table for today's sports and more. Smith cooks the Hawks, Big Monday owner, and NFL Down Under. It's all presented by the Guest House Tavern. Northwoods inspired Midwestern hospitality. Now it's high or low since the last show.
Presented by Wealth Charter Retirement Planning and Tax.
Celebrating 25 years at Wealth Charter Retirement Planning and Tax. And they're busy right now, but they got plenty of time to take your call as you start to get all those W-2 forms and start making your tax plans. This could be the year to change your tax, the person that does your taxes for you, and that's a good spot to do it. I'm going high here. This occurred to me last night as I was letting Lewis out to take a leak before I went to bed. I always try to do that, get as much out of him as possible so he sleeps really soundly.
If you're new to the show, Lewis is a dog.
Yeah, Lewis is 8 months old. He's a yellow lab, and he's like one of those labs that drinks the entire bowl of water. So he's like always got to pee. And the poor guy in the middle of the night, and we all know how that is. You got to pee.
Got to pee.
Yeah, he barks and wakes everybody up. So I'm taking him on a walk around the yard, and then I hear some great horned owls, and this is what it sounds like, Murph. Yeah,
is that an actual great horned owl?
It is, yeah,
it
yeah.
is? Okay.
But there's a bunch of them. They're all calling to each other around the neighborhood, and I love that. I love that sound. I've always loved that. I mean, you feel like even though you're here in the suburbs, there's like a little slice of the wild that's still alive, and I'm looking up in the trees trying to see them because in the wintertime, I mean, these are some of the biggest birds in Iowa, and you can kind of spot their silhouettes against the night sky in the winter with no leaves on the trees. And I could see he was right across the street, and there was a number of them, but one of them was right across the street. And then I took like 2 steps closer, and then he flew, and it was really, really cool. So I love hearing the owls at night. It's just amazing, like that they're just up all night and nothing else is.
And it does sound like a who.
Yeah.
I get why. Yeah.
And it's a little deceiving because you don't hear the great horned owls as often. It's a softer call, a little harder to hear, even though they're bigger. So it's kind of ironic. The owls that you usually hear around here are called barred owls, and they've got this crazy cry. That'll scare the hell out of you too when you're not expecting it.
Yeah, that sounds like an owl ate a rooster.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. And they'll call to each other all over the neighborhood too, and that's really cool. I remember one time Lewis and I were out in another midnight pee, and one of the barred owls was sitting up on top of our house, and he did that, and Lewis like turned tail and ran back in. He was just a baby at that point. But man, I remember camping with the Boy Scouts one year, and there were a couple of them right over our tent. And Doug Morey and I were just sure that we were going to die. We're like, what is that? What is that? It's just so spooky, but it's actually, the owl's about that big.
So bigger than a football.
Yeah, about football size, maybe a little bigger than a football, but not a huge bird. But man, they got some pipes.
I'm going high too, and it's this graphic now that the college football is done. Look at the way the Midwest rules college football, including Iowa here. All right, so we got North Dakota State in FCS, Division I AA as it used to be known. They're in Iowa, so that's North Dakota. Then we see Grandview, NAIA champion in Iowa, from Iowa. And then over here in Illinois, that is North Central. I had never heard of North Central, but congratulations, North Central won the Division III football championship. Then we see up there in Michigan, Ferris State beat my alma mater, Valdosta State, for the Division II championship. And then, of course, in Ohio, Ohio State won the first FCS playoff, FBS playoff, CFP, I guess it's called now.
Yeah,
CFP.
Forget the FBS stuff, yeah.
Yeah, forget that crap. So this is just a Midwestern footprint, and we could soon be adding Missouri to it if the Chiefs win their third straight Super Bowl.
Right.
This is just really counterintuitive to the understandable narrative the past 20 years or so, which is the South rules college football.
I thought you were going to say it was the narrative of all of these other states wanting to say that they're part of the Midwest. Like Oklahoma wants to say it's part of the Midwest, and it's not.
Now, would you dispute any of these states being Midwestern?
North Dakota's maybe iffy, but I don't know where else you would say it is.
Yeah.
I did see a poll a while ago where there are a lot of people from Ohio that don't think that Ohio's in the Midwest.
They think they're part of the Northeast, or what do they
the
consider
East
themselves?
or something? I don't know. I don't know. They didn't have like a follow-up question there, but it's right there. I would never think of Kentucky as being part of the Midwest.
Me either.
But look how close it is, right, to everything. And there are parts of Missouri, as somebody who's from Missouri, I can tell you, there are parts of Missouri you're like, this ain't the Midwest. At least not the Midwest.
South of I-70 is not the Midwest.
Yeah. South of I-70 is Missouri.
And if the Eagles win the Super Bowl, it doesn't change the look of this map that much.
No,
I realize no
much.
one's going to say that Pennsylvania is the Midwest, but it's still nothing out west, nothing southern. It's kind of fascinating.
Yeah.
Interact with others on YouTube comments. You can watch us on YouTube anytime. Show's always on YouTube. The past shows are there too, as well as the other Iowa Everywhere shows. Email Murph_Andy at iowaeverywhere.com. On X, it's Murph_Andy. It is all powered by the Cellular Advantage. Now with 35 Central Iowa locations, proud partner with U.S. Cellular since 1993. Let's get the buzz.
The Buzz. Brought to you by 𝘀cie𝗰𝗶𝗶 Heating and Cooling.
Proudly serving the Des Moines Metro for more than 115 years. Didn't just hop on the heating and cooling bandwagon. The buzz, Iowa gives good effort, but number 7 Purdue is just too much for the overmatched Hawkeyes. 90-81 the final. This was the first game without Iowa's leading scorer and rebounder and shot blocker, Owen Freeman. Iowa scores 81, but the defense is bad, and Purdue has Braden Smith and his beard.
That's quite a beard, too. I mean, he does not look like a basketball player in that beard, although there are quite a few NBA players that like black NBA players that have some pretty righteous beards. James Harden has just got he's always had that huge beard. But
yeah, James Harden looks like the beard, the famous photo you see when somebody lets all the bees on their beard. They have like a beard of bees. That's what Harden's looks like.
I've never thought of that. Yeah, that's true. Or just like somebody who's been like in the hold of a ship for 6 months and they come out. But this is like a full on mountain man beard that he's got. And he's a guard, and with the pink shoes, it was quite a look he had going last night.
He's a chirper too, man.
Yeah,
He's talking to players. He's talking to fans. Braden Smith is really good. Mm-hmm. This is the guy you want playing guard at your school. But if he's not at your school, he gets under your skin.
Yeah.
Man,
schools have that. Yeah. And sometimes when it's the point guard too, they've just got the ball so much that fans have plenty of chances to boo them.
Wisconsin is coming up next. Video courtesy of Blake Hornstein, Hawkeye headquarters. Thank you, Blake. Wisconsin, Saturday, AD, this is the game you're going to. How you feeling? I mean, you hate Wisconsin.
I do hate Wisconsin. I'm trying to temper my emotions and not let the fact that I was going to get beat ruin my day. I don't know.
They hung in there last night.
They could win that game.
They fought hard last night. It was good to see that. It's hard to care too much about fighting hard in a losing effort when you don't see the season going anywhere. So while I watched the game, and I never really got my hopes up, was never like, hey, this, again, even if they win some of these games, it really doesn't feel like it's going anywhere. But I'm excited. My wife has never been to Carver. My daughter's never been there.
Really?
Yeah. And
Surprised
I've taken my
Judy's
son.
never been there.
I was too. And so we're going to make the best.
Did you not know?
The best of it. Yeah, I did. I had no idea when I was like, hey, let's go to this game. She's like, I've never been there. I was like, well, the last 3 years when I've taken Charlie to games, you should have said something.
That's a good topic for another day, Murph. Like conversations that you can't believe just came up with your wife.
Yeah, we've been married for more than 10 years. I finally learned something about her.
Yeah, that is interesting. And
but no,
I will say though, AD, last night it's announced at 8,000, fewer than that, but the crowd that was there was engaged and into
loud.
it. They were loud. It was coming across. They were doing all they can. I mean, that's a half full arena for the number 7 team in the country for a 6 p.m. game, which is the best starting time for a Tuesday night.
And I expect a noon game on a Saturday will probably have a pretty good crowd. I think a lot of people were planning, regardless of what the record is, planning to go to this game. And so, we're going to make the most of it. Maybe Iowa can pull off a win. I've seen them do this before to Wisconsin. I usually try to go to this game. But again, I'm going to try to not, because then we're staying in Iowa City. We're going to make a day of it. We got a hotel. It's going to be fun. I'm going to try to not let the outcome of the game negatively impact my mood for the whole day. We'll see how much I've matured.
I'll see if you bring signs to the game. We'll be looking for you on television. Before we move on, Andy, if you could look up the movie Spies Like Us. Andy, we have to talk about this jacket you're wearing.
Well, I was going to call it the Yeti, but I don't think I'm allowed to do that. I'll get sued, right?
So
with the Yeti, we know Yeti Coolers fiercely defends its brand.
They won't let Utah Hockey Club call themselves the Yeti. So this looks warm. It looks like a warm jacket. It's got the 13. It's got the 13 logo on it. If you're watching on YouTube, here are the Spies Like Us
Our
outfits.
general manager got us, got all of us these a couple of years ago, and the great part is it's the same furry material inside as outside, and which makes it hard to get on over the wrong shirt. It's hard to pull on, but I'm going to be outside today. I'm relatively certain with all the weather coming in, and this sucker is warm. As a matter of fact, I'm wishing I had hit the Old Spice stick twice. Yeah, but no, I thought it would. I have never really have many chances to wear the Yeti.
Is that real sheep's wool? There is
real shearling. Yeah, I mean, like a polyester sheep, but probably lost its life for this. But no, it's really nice and warm.
You're going to need it later today. So Big Monday goes badly for reeling Iowa State. KU wins by 17. So each team won by 17 on its home court. And one of the crazy statistics is Bill Self is now 38-0 at home on Big Monday. That's incredible. Iowa State.
I guess that makes you feel a little bit better if you're Iowa State. I mean, I felt a little bit better when I heard that. I mean, we all know how good Kansas is at Allen Fieldhouse on
such a
Monday.
Great atmosphere. It's a tough place to play. It's so hard to win there any day of the week.
Yeah, but that aside, nobody was anything less than very concerned with what they saw from Iowa State on Monday.
Iowa State had 19 points at the half. The effort was there. It was a better effort than the previous Saturday against Kansas State. I think anybody watching would agree with that. And TJ Otzelberger said that in the postgame. Better effort, got after it, but there is just an offensive flow problem. And the blueprint was put out by Darren DeVries in West Virginia a couple of weeks ago. Stop the guards from driving, stop Keyshawn Gilbert, try to get Curtis Jones into taking shots that he's not hitting, which is happening. He's in a shooting slump. Tamin Lipsey has actually been scoring more than either of those two, but not getting any points off the bench. Those guys that come off the bench aren't really even being guarded when they're out there. And there's just a problem without Milan Momcilovic out there, and he's, 10 or 11 points a game, something like that. No one would consider him one of Iowa State's top 3 players, but he was a threat to shoot the three. So spacing was better, flow was better, drives were easier, turnovers were less frequent, and he, according to John Rothstein, is going to be out another week or 2.
Well, and they may not have shot well with him in the lineup. No, you just don't. And this you don't know. And this is one of the hardest things as a basketball fan to watch is your team struggling to hit shots and then getting frustrated and forcing shots and the team just looks like it's flailing out there. And it shouldn't happen because they have so much talent and so many different types of offense that they can put on. But when the team gets into that tailspin where they are clearly just forcing it, it makes it worse, right? I mean, just nothing is working.
Yep.
But shots were, good quality open shots are just bricking off the back of the rim. And from, pretty early on, I mean, you're just thinking, you're watching the game, you're like, this team is not right.
Yeah,
what's
confidence
going
is
on
waning.
with this team?
Yeah, it's all a problem right now.
And I don't know that there's any one spot that this is the hardest part of being a coach, or one of them, at least of the X's and O's. This is the hardest part of being a coach, right? I mean, when stuff is not going right, figuring out where to start, and solving it. What takes your focus first, and then where do you go, and then how do you keep the team on track if that solution doesn't work immediately in the next game that you take the court on? It's really, I mean, Cyclone fans right now are wondering where the end of this is. I mean, this isn't a long losing streak. It's really not a huge deal, but you're wondering. It is if they don't figure it out.
It is because this looked like a championship team, a potential championship team. A legit Final Four contender does not look like that right now. The good news is it's early February and there's plenty of time to get it turned back around. But right now there's a confidence crisis. The team does look like TJ's first team where to win games you had to just grind it out. But this team probably isn't as tough physically as that first team was. And when the shots aren't falling, everything becomes a problem, and they're just missing a lot of shots. Someone on here, I think it was, who asked? Brent asked, does the team look physically tired to you? Absolutely. the team looks fatigued, the guards especially.
Well, yeah, and teams look like that when they're getting frustrated like that. I mean, they look tired. They look
body language.
You can read their body language, through the TV screen. I mean, it's very clear. It doesn't mean that they actually are tired any more than, when they're hitting shots. Does it make it look, are they more rested? Maybe not. That's what it looks like when things are going well, and that's what it looks like when things aren't going well. But right now, it just seems like this team, even the options that it does have, aren't working. And he's got a deep bench, but now it's looking like several of the guys he likes to bring in out of that bench are not giving them any help with the main problem. Right? They're not giving them the offensive spark. And I don't know, you just think that like it's a numbers game. Eventually somebody is going to be shooting the ball well, but I mean, it's kind of a lesson in, how much teammates can affect each other.
The pieces have to fit. And right now they don't fit. And College game day is coming Saturday. And when that plan was made, no one at ESPN was thinking, Iowa State will probably be on a 3-game losing streak for College game day. Now, Cyclone fans are going to show up. It'll still be enthusiastic. They can beat TCU, start to get it turned around. But that is just not something anyone could have imagined 3-4 weeks ago, that Iowa State could lose 3 in a row.
No. Right. I mean, you were looking at certain points in this season, you were looking and wondering when they'd ever lose again. I mean, they barely lost to Auburn, which is far and away the best team in the country. And even in losing that game, you came away thinking, oh man, this team is a Final Four team. They absolutely did look like a Final Four team.
And lost at the buzzer.
Yeah, but I mean, it just shows you, maybe, I don't know if it was that 3/4 court shot at Arizona that threw the whole thing off, but it sure seems like it. If they win that game, it's hard to imagine that, they look like they have in these last 2 games.
That is the point where everything, at least to the eye, changed. It could be coincidence, but the overtime was a dud. There was no offense in the overtime. And it reminds me a little bit of what happened to the Bears on that Hail Mary. The Bears never recovered from that Washington Commanders Hail Mary. And that might be a little drastic to say they're not going to recover. They haven't recovered from this. But, man, that was going to be a big win and an electric atmosphere. And there were Cyclone fans that were already posting about it, like, what a win. And then you get a 60-footer that puts you into overtime and you don't recover. Let's talk about a team that is winning, the Drake Bulldogs. 21-2, first team in the country to 21 wins, held Murray State to a season-low 45 points on its own court. Murray State ended Drake's 28-game home winning streak a few weeks ago, so it was a revenge game. Bennett starts with another 23 points, and Brian Harden is on social media, the athletic director, saying, hey, ESPN, you're coming into Central Iowa for game day. How about a story on these Drake Bulldogs?
Or, just stop short in Des Moines, where we're at home against Indiana State on Saturday. And, all of these things that we're talking about with Iowa State, Drake has been doing. Now, they've been doing them in the Missouri Valley. I know that. But this team had a 2-game losing streak, and everybody wondered, okay, did they lose it?
Is it over?
They had it and they lost it. No, they got it back. They lost at home to Murray State, and everybody's wondering, okay, well, does that team just have the winning formula against Drake? Is that a bad matchup for Drake? Nope. You watched that game last night. Ben McCollum has done so many impressive things this season, but on that list is his ability to coach through some of these hiccups. And he hasn't had too many of them. I've hardly had any. But all of the doubts that we got in that 2-game losing streak, I feel have been addressed and maybe solved at this point. I mean, there's 7 more games left. But if you watched that game last night, and it was kind of a snoozer because the crowd was quiet. Drake, went up early and just held on.
Takes the shot clock down to under 10 each time. It's down. A slow pace.
Yeah, and really, finally, I think Murray State got within 8, and Drake just, huddled up on the sidelines. What's going on here? Came back in, got a few more points, and basically just ended the game. With a minute left, there was no suspense anymore. I mean, that makes you feel really good as a fan. You're just like, okay, this team, there is nothing fluky at all about this team. And there should be. I mean, if you hadn't watched any of this, I mean, my God, how in the world is this happening? This is such an unlikely story at any level of college basketball. This is an unlikely story, or a hard to believe story, an impossible to believe story. But they've got great teamwork. Bennett Sturtz looks like he's been playing at Drake for 20 years.
He really does.
He's so calm and cool. And there is an ensemble of moving parts around him that just all moves like an Italian sports car's engine. I mean, it's just, everything is in sync, and it was fun to watch last night. Going to the game on Saturday. There are some tickets remaining for that. I'm really looking forward to it. And there's nothing I love more as a sports fan than, getting to the end of these games as it's clear Drake is going to win, and then just watching my phone blow up with text messages from friends all around the country who've been paying attention and are just riding the wave with me.
Former Drake star Tucker DeVries will have shoulder surgery if he hasn't had it already. West Virginia, and Darren DeVries shuts Tucker down for the he's been shut down for several weeks, but they're going to shut him down the rest of the season. And he only played 8 games, so he will get a medical red shirt. The plan is for him to play another year at West Virginia. But AD, I have to wonder, with the attention you pay to Hawkeye fans, have you seen anyone wonder if Tucker might be playing for the Hawks next year?
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. Yes.
I figured.
It's number 1 on the wish list, baby. Not just Darren, but hey, you get Tucker also? Hell yeah, let's go.
I just can't see Darren leaving after 1 year.
You want to come back? You want to come back?
You need to check into it, I'm sure. All right, question for both of you. Who won the Pro Bowl?
The score was a basketball score. It was really funny.
Who won?
It was like 79-63 or something.
It's still AFC, NFC. Or it was this year.
Peyton.
Yeah.
The NFC won.
Oh, okay. Eli.
Yeah, and by the way, the move to flags ratings are going way down. So even when they pretended to play tackle football, the ratings were much better. This is not working. They're actually getting like NBA and baseball ratings.
See,
so who knows what they'll do next?
I didn't watch any of it. I see the photos and it looks fun. And I think, hey, maybe I should have watched some of that. And then I forget that it happened and move on.
Right. And the NFL has announced, or Roger Goodell did, that they're considering a men's and women's flag football league. So they're invested in flag football at this point, but apparently people aren't invested in watching it, at least not at the Pro Bowl. A Boston reporter asked Patrick Mahomes a loaded question yesterday.
Patrick, for your whole career, you have had so many great people help you win. So who is your favorite ref?
That's hilarious. No, all the refs are great, man. All the refs are great. They do the best they can. And go out there and play the game the right way.
Is there one that you give a Christmas card to every year, possibly?
Not that I can remember. I'll have to talk to some of my teammates and we can kind of figure it out.
Mahomes handles
this
that
guy off.
Yeah, Mahomes handles that really well. Don't give him anything. Don't be all outraged or act like you're offended. Just give a classy answer, which Mahomes did. Now, the NFL Referees Association, the NFLRA, pushed back hard yesterday on the conspiracy theory that the fix is in for the Chiefs. Quote, Officiating crews do not work the same team more than twice in regular season. It is insulting and preposterous to hear conspiracy theories that 17 officiating crews consisting of 138 officials are colluding to assist one team. That's Executive Director Scott Green. And of course, he's right. There's not some conspiracy. There's not collusion. Everybody's not in on the fix. But people get frustrated when they hear this because they say, then explain to me why so many calls favor the Chiefs. There's no question Patrick Mahomes has learned to kind of game the system, and that great teams and legendary coaches and quarterbacks get favorable calls. That's been going on for a long time in all sports.
And to believe that, there is a conspiracy here is believing that there are multiple referees who all feel like all that they have worked for to get where they are, which is the absolute top of the officiating heap in the world, and a job that everybody else wants. That group of referees, because it's conspiracy, that means there's a number of people involved. Right. That conspiracy says that they are all willing to put those jobs at risk, and that they don't respect themselves. They don't respect all they have done and all of the hard work that they put in to keeping their skills at the highest level, or getting them there to the first place and then keeping them there. I mean, that's a much stronger accusation than I think most people realize.
Yes.
Claims of, conspiracies and people that are just in the bag because of, they've been promised money or whatever. I mean, those are always a lot stronger accusations. There's a lot more to that than most of us realize, because we do this. I mean, we think, oh God, these guys are, I mean, that's saying like your personal fandom is stronger than your pride, your integrity, your work ethic, your commitment to your profession, to your family, to your reputation, to your legacy. I mean, that's saying a lot. That's really heavy.
It is. And in this day and age, people will say, well, with sports gambling, this seems possible. There is always the possibility of some rogue official being really foolish, and it ends up costing him his career. We had an example of that in Major League Baseball this week. Pat Hoiberg, perhaps the most respected umpire in Major League Baseball, was fired by Major League Baseball because he gave a sports betting account to a friend of his, and Hoiberg says that was a really foolish thing to do. Now, there's no evidence suggesting that Hoiberg himself manipulated games or placed bets, but you can't be anywhere near gambling. And now he can apply for reinstatement, but he might have cost himself his career. I would bet that he probably did, because I think Major League Baseball just can't afford to have anything that looks bad when it comes to gambling.
But that's small potatoes compared to what we're talking about here with the Chiefs and the NFL. People are implying or just outright saying that these referees on the field, and there's a lot of them, are all colluding with the NFL to keep the Chiefs propped up and keep everybody else from beating them.
It's beyond stupid. First of all, the NFL is the top entertainment empire in the United States today. Has the most value, makes the most money, influences the most people. To put that in jeopardy absolutely makes no sense. Kansas City is a small market, so you wouldn't do this for Kansas City, Missouri, if you were going to try to manipulate the system in some way. That makes no sense. And on top of the makes no sense pile and why it wouldn't happen, Super Bowl was sold out of advertising long before the Chiefs were put into. They don't need.
Does it look like the NFL needs help?
They don't need help from some conspiracy.
Or anybody, yeah.
But again, if your point to me is the Chiefs get more favorable calls or Patrick Mahomes gets favorable treatment, yes, that's true.
But that's
just
because
like Jordan, just like
human
the Bulls,
nature,
just like the Patriots, just like Brady, just like LeBron, just like Bill Self when he's at Kansas, coaching at Fog Allen Fieldhouse, or Coach K, or that happens. That's human nature. That's
attractive people
story.
get, favorable service at the bar or whatever. I mean, there's not a conspiracy out there. There's just, people.
Human nature.
Acting like humans.
2025, the NFL plans a regular season game in Australia. Are you excited about this?
I'm not excited about it. I think it makes sense. I think, anybody that's slightly familiar with Australia knows that it's, it has so much in common with the U.S. They follow our culture. They have their own Aussie rules football.
They
which
provide
love.
our punters.
Yeah. I mean, they have players, but they love to compare Aussie rules football to American football and talk about how soft we are because we've got to wear pads. But, they speak the language. There's just a lot going on that's similar to what we've got. Now, the problem is it's, on the other side of the international date line and south of the equator. So it's
a tough trip.
It's on the other side of the world. So it's tough TV wise, I'm sure.
Confluence is the official beer of Murph and Andy. Confluence, where good things come together. We will have Confluence available at the Iowa Everywhere party that's coming up February 21st at night at the Irish. More details to come, but get that on your calendar if you want to come out and celebrate with other viewers and listeners of Iowa Everywhere. Right now, let's get some more.
But wait, there's more from Either Or Eatery and Patio.
Either Or has a new cocktail list out for Valentine's Day. We're going to break that out, show everybody a little bit more about what that looks like tomorrow. But they've got some new specials and new promotions going on there as they have completely shifted out of the Christmas mode and into Valentine's Day in 2025. It's time, and it's still a fun place to check out if you haven't done it so far. Today is National Weatherman's Day.
Hey,
this is our favorite right here.
Yeah,
and Ed is. I always feel kind of bad for the meteorologist on a day like today because, again, let's describe the conditions we've got. We've got a winter that is just not really hit yet. We've had cold, but we haven't had a lot of snow. We haven't transitioned into our normal Iowa winter. It's been warm. It's been dry. We've had more of the news has been about fires and wind than it's been about snowstorms. But today there is an ice storm that has been predicted. It's not major, but we haven't had much this season, so it kind of is major, right?
It's relative. Yeah, relative to what we've had so far. Sure.
Yeah, if this hit during a normal winter, it'd be like a blip on the radar. They would mention it wouldn't be that big a deal. But today, schools are getting out early. Clubs and businesses are closing early. I got an email from our church saying that they're closing the offices early. I mean, people are kind of freaking out about this one storm. And as you hear that, and you're standing next to Ed at the desk, you can kind of feel him getting a little nervous, right? Because I mean, all these people are looking at he's like, okay, it's not going to be, it's a 1/10 of an inch of ice. This is not major, but he's only got so much control over the way that we react to this stuff. In a year like this,
yeah,
there's a good chance that we're overreacting, and then therefore, if it's not that big a deal, people go in there, what are you talking about, Ed? This was not that big a deal. I thought you were going to be a huge sweatshirt, it's a big old storm and everything. And he's just like, no, man, I was telling you it wasn't going to be that big a deal. It's just we just haven't had the big deal this year. You know what I mean?
I do.
Oh, Mary says now that Jerry Ann has said it is not an ice storm.
It's been downgraded to a non-ice storm. What's under an ice storm? Like a slushy?
Sleet storm? A slushy? It's a slushy.
It's a
big slushy.
It's a big slushy.
Yeah. I can see my wife just dropped off my daughter here. She's probably.
Are you still going to go
to around the corner? Yeah. But I'm wearing the Yeti because of what Ed said last night, right? That's why I got it on. From the Des Moines Register, did you know 131 homes in the Des Moines Metro sold for $1 million or more last year? This
I did
is
not
the
know.
this was the most expensive one. This is $3 million something. This is somewhere out in West Des Moines.
That does look like something a pro athlete would buy. That's a nice house.
I don't think that's Jeremy Hellickson's house, is it?
Is that Lewis?
No, that was Bernard.
Hi, Bernard.
He's too short to get on the camera. That's kind of amazing, though. Geez, $131 million home sold in the Des Moines Metro just last year.
Jeez.
Some of these people are doing pretty well. Citing the nationwide rise in the cost of eggs, you'll like this, Murph. The Waffle House has posted signs alerting customers that there will be a 50-cent per egg surcharge for the foreseeable future. Cost of eggs has risen sharply because of an aggressive strain of the avian flu, the bird flu, causing customers and restaurants to make difficult decisions, says the Waffle House. Waffle House also says it will remove the surcharge when the price of eggs goes back down again.
Or if you win the fight on your way out the door.
Yes, I was trying to think of all these surcharges that we were told were going to go away, but then actually didn't. The baggage surcharge, when was that, Murph? Like 2004 or so? There was some kind of a mild recession that we had.
Checked luggage surcharge.
Yeah, checked luggage.
Reserve a seat surcharge.
Yeah, all those things popped up. The fuel charge, like the fuel was expensive, so the planes they had to charge more for the bags, and it was just going to be temporary.
It's never temporary.
It was never temporary. It was totally not temporary. Tipping during COVID, we need to ask people to tip more than 15% because, these servers, they're not making the money during COVID. Okay, everybody bucks up. Those have not gone away. That pad starts at 20% now. Credit card surcharges, those are all over the place right now. Those probably ain't going away. All right, at approximately midnight on Sunday, February 2nd, 2025, the Marshalltown Fire Department was dispatched to 119 East State Street for a structure fire. Upon arrival, a two-story apartment building was found with a working fire in an upstairs apartment. Firefighters threw 2 ladders to the fire to search for victims. As the initial attack line was advanced to the fire, no victims were found. They got the fire out. First hose line did all the work. That information provided to us by Marshalltown Fire Chief Christopher Cross. This press release is Ride Like the Wind.
They do. That's well said. First hose. First hose. Got it with the
first hose line.
First hose line.
Yeah, just brush that off their shoulder there in Marshalltown. Do you know Girl Scout cookie sales are here again?
I did not.
So I had been hard on Girl Scout cookies. I was just like, these are overrated, and they're not that.
You do
deal.
not want to take the Scouts on, Andy. Don't do it.
Was all for it, and you know what happened last year?
You bought 6 boxes?
No, somebody brought some to the newsroom, and I started snacking on them, like as we do in the newsroom. And I was like, oh my God, these are really good. Some of the new ones that they had too were really good, and I ended up just eating a ridiculous amount of packaged cookies. They're just so easy.
The one on the right there, the tag-alongs, that's kind of like the Reese's cup of cookies.
You like those?
I love those.
They're just good, yeah.
Yeah, Thin Mints are okay. Several of these are okay, but those, is it tag-alongs? Is that what it's called?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
like a Reese's cup cookie. Hard to eat one of those.
Like the lemon ones they had, man, I was just tossing those, man. Those are incredible. God,
you tossed your cookies?
I picked the wrong word there. I was tossing them down my throat. The number of people who have died while taking selfies keeps going up.
This always makes me so sad and mad a little bit, too. Like, gosh, don't get so close to the edge.
For a time, Wikipedia was keeping a running total of selfie deaths. They had estimated that 379 people had died in selfie-related accidents between 2008 and 2021. With hundreds more sustaining serious injuries. But since then, other sources suggest the toll had risen to as many as 480 fatalities by the end of last year. Jeez. So by way of comparison, far more people die from taking selfies than from shark attacks, which on average account for 5 to 6 deaths per year globally. The selfies, Yeah, like they call it like the ultimate selfie. Do you want that to be the last thing you do on Earth?
No,
a selfie that doesn't work.
And somebody has to go get the body, and you must feel like, God, this is so unnecessary.
And they have to get the phone and post it on social media to make it all worth it.
Yeah. If that ever happens to me, post the picture.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
Listen, I'm dead, but I need the clout.
No, I mean, but it's got to be worth it, right? I mean, sort of.
But then
it's
it
not going to be
becomes
worth
like
it.
a morbid photo. I've seen there are feeds that just post like eerie last photos ever taken of someone right before they die, and oftentimes they are right on the edge taking a selfie, took a step back or something, or they're rope climbing up the side of a mountain or something, and they stop and pose and fall off the rope.
What if it's like a selfie video?
Oh man.
What if it's like a selfie video? Yeah, here I am, the Grand King. I want to see that. All right, Murph provided this. Let's pop up the map of the weirdest foods in every state. Here we go. All right, let's check it out. Our weirdest food here in Iowa is the walking taco.
Nothing weird about a walking taco.
Not
it's
to us.
It's great.
I had never heard of it.
Possum pie.
Yeah, possum pie is in Arkansas.
Rattlesnake in Texas.
The Minnesota is the pickle dog. I don't know what that is. Damn,
Looks
that
amazing.
looks good. It's a
You
hot
say
dog
it's
and
amazing?
a pickle.
It looks amazing.
Oh, looks amazing.
Yeah.
I've never seen one of those.
Yeah, that looks really good. My home state of Missouri is Provel cheese, which a lot of people don't understand. There you go. You can get it actually here in Des Moines. It is a
brain.
It's a cheese blend. Oh, those are ropes. Yeah, it's a bunch of different cheeses blended together. They add smoke flavoring, a little bit of smoke flavoring, and then they put it on pizza.
That's not
Emo's
that
pizza.
weird.
It's not, and it's not. People make it out to be something weirder than it is. Like they'll be like, it's just like a Cheese Whiz or Velveeta. No, it's not. It's not shelf stable. You have to keep it in the refrigerator. It molds, and it's processed. But so is every other part of your pizza. It's all processed. What else we got here? Chislic. Oh yeah, this is South Dakota. I had some of that at when I went up there for my father-in-law's funeral. These are just like steak bites that are marinated, or they've got like a dry rub, and then they're kind of flash fried or grilled, cut up. They're great. Yeah, this is Murph. You would love these. They're healthy. They're really good. What else we got? What is that?
That looks
gravy
good.
bread.
Oh, gravy bread in great. That looks like an
Illinois.
Italian beef.
It does. Yeah,
That's Illinois.
All the pictures I found of gravy bread from Illinois had like the beef on it, so I think it's just soaked.
Who calls it gravy bread?
It's
soaked
doughy
bread?
Apparently.
I would eat that. I'd smash that
Yeah,
as
I
soon
would
as
too.
it shows.
Well,
up.
it looks
That
like an
good.
Italian beef that they dipped in au jus and or like soaked the whole thing in it. That's really good. What else we got here? We got those are pasties.
Beer rock.
Oh,
Pasties?
beer rock. No, that's beer rock. Okay, or Buy Rock. I don't know. What is this? Is this
Looks like a
Kansas state
runza.
food? Yeah, it does look like a runza. It's a what is it?
Yeah,
Kansas.
Kansas.
Beer rock? I don't think I've had that before. Montana's is pasties, and that is kind of the state food of the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. Those are like the Cornish miners would their wives would make those for them so that they could take them and eat them for lunch. What else we got here? What does it say there in Nebraska? I can't see that. Hot beef Sunday. Yeah, we can get those here, right?
We got a green chili sundae. State Riseboro in Vermont is sugar on snow.
Arizona has scorpion lollipops.
What?
I think it's
Do they
just
have
the way
those down there with?
Is it actually the
with your kids?
scorpion
I don't know.
with candy coating? It probably is.
What is it, California? Sushi burrito? Like a burrito made of sushi?
Gooseneck barnacles.
Yeah.
You know what Rocky Mountain oysters are?
And then gooey duck is that's the one in Washington. That is a really weird crustacean that I think they dig up at the beach.
Here's the
Looks like
scorpion lollipop.
It is a scorpion in candy.
They just have those all over the place in
I guess.
Arizona, Murph.
Hand them out to kids who Do well in school.
Bad kids. All right, that's a look at the weirdest food from every state. I love maps like that. Those are fun. I like going to a state and saying, "Hey, what's the state food here?" Yeah, really good. Onion burger in Oklahoma and the green chili cheeseburger in New Mexico. Those are my favorite on my trip this past summer. That's your more, everybody.
Grimaldi's fan photos, Murph_Andy at iowaeverywhere.com. Send them in. We'll pick a winner on Friday. $50 gift card to Grimaldi's cold-fired brick oven pizza.
Yeah, the Downs family made a trip over to Grimaldi's recently. There's my son Charlie with the menu. My daughter Jenny eating some pizza.
Eating like that. She's eating that like she's missing front teeth.
She's missing a couple, down on the bottom. She's missing her 2 front bottom teeth, and then she got a picture of me eating crust.
80's not missing any teeth.
The crust is so good there.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for Mr. Movie.
It's time to go to the movies with Mr. Movie, Mike Woody, presented by P&P Small Engines.
Since 1976, P&P Small Engines has been serving the needs of Central Iowa homeowners and lawn care professionals. Tune up now and save. Hello, Mike.
What do you think Jeff's doing right now?
He told me that he is driving a salt truck today, putting salt down to try to get ahead of the ice. But I know he wants to sell some snow blowers, and if you still want to buy a snow blower right now, we're going to get some snow. He could make you a deal on one right now. He needs to move those things out because his truck full of mowers has come in.
Jeez. Yeah, we're in February.
Yeah, they're going to be on top of each other there.
Our out of the box topic today is a recent series that you've streamed that's better than expected. So maybe pass along word to somebody. I'm going to pick something I talked to Andy about the other night. It's new to Netflix. It's called American Manhunt, which is a really good series of documentary series. And it's on O.J. Simpson. And the reason I'm picking this is because I thought, what else can I possibly learn? What interview haven't I seen? How can this be interesting? Because I've watched the 30 for 30s, the documentaries, there have been Oscars won for this, for documentaries done on this subject, but it is good. And there is new information and there are new interviews, and it's kind of more maddening than ever. Andy, just in the first episode alone, how many times do you see something that's like really damning, like someone talking about OJ at the airport seemingly discarding the knife in the garbage can, and then it'll flash up on the screen. This witness was never called to the stand. I mean, there's just person after person after person, including one of OJ's close friends who talks about how he couldn't get away from him fast enough.
Yeah, Ron
that
Shipp.
day.
Yeah, right.
When he said, I realized that, he did it.
It's really well done. It's a younger guy who I don't think was even born when this was going on. Is that right? Or he was just
the
a
guy
little
making
kid?
the documentary. I didn't realize that. It's 4 parts.
Yeah, so it's a fresh perspective, but I mean, there was such a mountain of forensic evidence. I'm probably not surprised that there was just a bunch of stuff that got lost or didn't ever really get revealed, that they missed or weren't allowed to bring in. But yeah, like going into his bathroom and stuff, all the evidence they found in his bathroom.
Yeah.
That shows that he's cleaning up cuts on his hand and all that kind of stuff. So it is not the same old story. Right. I mean, it has a lot of the elements, but even some of the familiar faces, the Mark Furman and Christopher Darden and the others that you feel like you've heard everything from them. They have stuff that you've never heard before in this.
Yeah, and it is a reminder again that there's really 3 things on trial here. There's OJ, there's the history of the Los Angeles Police Department with race relations, and then there's kind of the racial divide in America. So you got 3 things going on at once. I don't know any reasonable person that could watch this and think, I still think OJ might be innocent, but it's a fascinating look at this. So, Andy, what did you pick?
Well, I picked the Hulu series The Bear, which became very popular. This isn't anything that people probably haven't heard of, but first of all, I didn't think this is a good name for this series. at least it didn't help. I was like, what is that about? And I saw it over and over again, the name or even just a little snippet about what it was about. And it didn't draw me in until I, just had it recommended by a bunch of other people. And I like cooking shows. I like to cook, and I'm always kind of drawn in by those shows where I feel like I'm a good cook, and then I watch and I'm like, man, I don't know anything about cooking. And I'm always interested in restaurants and their histories and the way that they work. It just seems like organized chaos all the time. And this series is all of that. I mean, it's a bunch. It teaches you a bunch of stuff about that. It's a lot of family drama, but it's also just a really good story that keeps unfolding. Right, new wrinkles keep coming out. And what seems like, it's kind of like the restaurant business, what seems like total chaos at first, you're able to see as you watch the series how it all actually fits together.
Have you seen The Bear, Mike?
I have not, but Sue is absolutely obsessed with it. And she thinks that the second season's coming soon and she can't figure out when. And
yeah, they're on season 3 right now.
Oh, so third
season.
Third season's coming. The one thing that's interesting, because I've watched this and I like it too, I had people, my son Cade was one of them that said, if you get anxious at all, this show will make you a little uncomfortable because it almost produces anxiety, the way the rhythms of it and the music you hear and the way it's edited. Sometimes it can make some people a little anxious. The other thing that's interesting, it's won 2 Emmys for Best Comedy, and I would not consider this a comedy. There are some funny moments, but people looking for like The Office or Seinfeld or something, that's not this at all. I would think of it more of as a drama.
I thought it was, what was interesting to me was, I think I've talked to a number of chefs who say they can't watch it. It's too realistic. Mm-hmm. It stresses them out. I was talking with Ryan Skinner, who was the chef at Harbinger for quite a while and is now over with those new places over at the Valley Air Ballroom. And I was like, have you watched The Bear? And he's like, oh, yeah. I was like, did you like it? He goes, no. I was like, but this is your industry. You should like this kind of stuff. He said it was just way too real. He went through all this kind of stuff where they're just, these super executive chefs at Michelin star restaurants just yelling and just verbally abusing their understudies. And oof. Yeah, it's rough, but it's a really, really well done show.
It is for sure. Mike, what'd you pick, Mr. Movie?
I went back further than you guys did. I'm going to go back. Sandra Oh and Jodie Comer put together a mystery thriller comedy show not long after COVID called Killing Eve. It was on Netflix, and it is so creative and so well done. And Jodie Comer is, as the bad person, is just awesome. And it was one of those shows that I don't think a lot of people got to because they didn't understand what it was. I mean, what's Killing Eve? Who's Eve? That kind of stuff. So right. If you haven't seen this, it's funny and it is deadly at times.
And there are many seasons of this too, correct?
Yeah, I think there's 2 or 3.
Yeah, it seemed like there were many seasons. AD, what'd you pick?
Yeah, I wouldn't have thought that one of my favorite shows would be an ultra-violent Korean subtitled show about people playing kids' games for money. But it is Squid Game. It came out originally like 3 years ago, season 1. Season 2 just dropped on Netflix in December, and season 3 is coming in June. And it's a really good show. It's fascinating. It is violent, but it's really intriguing. And the subtitle thing, it takes a little bit to get used to, but it also makes you put your phone down and like really engage with the show. And that I like that aspect of it too.
Do you know worldwide this is the most popular Netflix series ever?
Yeah, absolutely. And the one down thing I'll say is season 2 certainly feels like half of a season. I think Netflix is kind of gaming this to drop one season in December and then keep people subscribed through June so they can get season 3, because season 2 doesn't have a satisfying conclusion the way that season 1 did. So now I'm just like, we binged, because they just dropped them all at once. We binged like 7 episodes of season 2, and now we have to wait 6 months for season 3 to come. But when it comes, we'll watch every second of it.
Netflix does that. Like Cobra Kai kind of splits the seasons in half to keep you on the hook. All right, so last weekend, Flight Risk won at the box office with $12 million. Kind of a disappointment, and people aren't loving that movie.
Yeah.
Mufasa the Lion King was second, then One of Them Days. Let's get to the reviews here this week, Mike. We start off with Companion.
Wow, this movie is so crazy, and it's ultra violent. I mean, there's a bunch.
Is she rolling her eyes at this guy, or does she just like not have any eyes?
I'm not going to answer that.
Okay,
you'll have to see it. But if I told you what was going on with her eyes, that would ruin the show for you. So.
Well, I can already tell Andy won't be seeing this with his wife.
No,
you've already said ultra violent.
Well, it's this group of young people who meet in this remote home of this uber wealthy man, and nothing good happens when they get there, and it just turns into there's a lot of blood. Let's just put it that way. But it is so well done. I mean, I would normally not like that much blood, but everybody in the show does such a good job. And the story is so unique. You didn't see it coming, but it was really good.
The comments are fun. Brian Slack, what is your grade? Because Brian said he saw it. He went with his wife on her birthday. Yeah. It was amazing. Well, we wait for Brian's grade. Let's get your grade for Companion. Find someone made just for you.
Yes. I'm going to give it a B+. It was good.
So that's a go see it in the theater.
Yes, it is. But, if you're a horror fan, this is must see. If you're not, and you got a little weak stomach, I'd stay home.
One of the hardest films to pull off, I think, the horror film.
Yeah.
Sounds like this one did. Oh, Brian gives it a 10 out of 10.
Whoa.
Wow.
I'm telling you, it's good. It's not 10 out of 10 on my scale, but it's pretty close.
He recommends the IMAX out at the Palms.
Absolutely.
And an A grade. Okay, well, Companion. Dogman is on the other side of the spectrum.
I saw Dogman this morning. Never really got to the end of it. This is the most annoying movie I have ever seen.
It's not for you.
I can go to a Disney movie and just have a blast. This movie is so annoying. It's just, I don't know. It was bad.
Man,
I was an hour in, and I'm like, maybe I should go see if my socks are dry. You have landed. No, don't give me that.
Eddie and Charlie's shit list.
Absolutely.
Oh, well, that's all right.
Man,
Yeah.
Andy's holding up the book, Mike.
Man,
he's holding up the book right now.
I'm telling you, he has got 20 of this is a long series.
Yeah, this is the guy that did Captain Underpants too.
Oh yeah, my kids love Captain Underpants back in the day.
Diary of a Wimpy Kid stuff. Yeah, I mean it's all this kind of it's like a comic book thing, but it's like book crack.
Yeah,
for kids. I mean it's
kids
Andrew, I don't know about you, but
crack.
Yeah, well, they read this stuff. I don't know they get anything out of this. But they just, it's better than playing video games, but they just read it. I mean, Eddie will read these things 4 or 5 times.
Yeah, my son reads them over and over again. Yeah. And when a new one comes out, he'll read it within like a few hours.
I have to take him away.
But that doesn't mean the movie's good.
The movie's pretty good. I saw it on Friday night. We took the family opening night. It was funny because apparently my wife just hadn't paid attention to either my son's constant talking about this, or I've read a couple of these books because my son has really wanted me to. So I understood the premise. At one point, my wife leaned over to me and because, we like to know which famous actors are doing the voices.
Right.
And she says, who voices Dogman? I said, Dogman doesn't talk, babe. It's half dog, half man. It barks. Nobody voices Dogman. It's a dog head on a human body. And she's like, what? That's what the premise of this story is?
Because there was an accident,
like
right?
They get blown up, and the man's head is no good. The dog's body is no good. So they sewed the two together. And
this is my favorite discussion of the day right here. Okay, so AD, what's your grade as an adult for Dogman, and what's your grade? What would Charlie give it?
I mean, Charlie would give it an A+.
Oh,
okay. There's no question.
Eddie loved it. Yeah, I saw he loved it.
Eddie loved it too.
Wants to go see it again. Can't wait till we can buy it on Amazon.
Because we have to give Mr. Movie an incomplete. He didn't finish the assignment.
It's not as good as most of those picks. It's not Inside Out. It's not Wild Robot. It's not a movie that you as an adult are going to like take something from and be like, oh, this is kind of for me. It's none of that. It is just kind of a fun, dumb cartoon movie though. So like, I mean, it's a C+ as an adult.
It's a movie where you just put all the kids in there and then lock the door.
Exactly.
Make sure they're safe.
D is the letter that starts the word drive home.
Or Dogman. All right, let's move along here to something. Again, we have like whiplash with our reviews here. September 5, it is a look at the 1972 Olympics and the tragedy there that occurred through the ABC television sports team that scrambled to get the events on the air and had to learn in real time how to cover a tragedy, which television hadn't done anything like this before. I was unable to go this weekend due to a work conflict, but I'm going to get to this soon. What did you think?
I thought it was brilliant. I revised my top 10 list to make sure this was on it. It was just, I walked out of that theater and I felt like I had just been gut punched. It was just so sad. It was a very emotional experience.
But it also tells the Roone Arledge perspective and the tough decisions that were made. Yeah. Like I know at one point from reading the book, they realized that the terrorists are watching their coverage and they don't want to aid them in what they're doing.
Yeah, it's very, very well done. And it's a brilliant movie. It really is. It's just, I loved it. I would see it again, but the subject matter is so difficult that it's tough.
Is that an A?
That's an A.
That's an A. All right. Next week, Love Hurts, Becoming Led Zeppelin, and Parasite in the Palms IMAX.
Yeah. Love Hurts is the guy that was in that Everywhere, Everything, All at One Time, whatever movie was. He was the little guy that was in the Indiana Jones
Ke Quan
movies. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it looks fun. He's a realtor that also happens to be an assassin.
Okay.
It looks really funny. So hopefully it'll live up to that. Heart Eyes is a horror movie where the killer cuts their eyes out and makes little heart shapes. So that's not going to get.
Save a seat for Kahala in there.
I'm not a big Led Zeppelin fan.
Oh,
but in the IMAX, this might be good. I mean, I can take my own little stairway to heaven, but
Bryce Miller may fly back to Iowa just to watch this.
Well, that would be nice. But they're doing all kinds of stuff, and Keith, you know this because you guys missed 7 in the IMAX. You got to watch that IMAX theater. I mean, they're going to bring stuff in like this. They're bringing Parasite back, hoping that on the second time you see it, you understand even half of what went on in that movie.
It's a good movie.
It is a good movie, but I can't describe it. And the guy that directs it's got another one coming out in a couple of weeks. So I'm sure he's trying to get people up to speed on what he's been doing since. But
all right.
And they're bringing in 2 Harry Potter movies. So
got AD's attention with that.
Yeah.
All right. Very good. Well, enjoy the movies, Mr. Movie.
All right, guys. Good
Mike
to see
Woody,
you.
Presented by P&P Small Engines, and it's time for Throwdowns.
Throwdowns. It's Throwdowns. Backed by Heartland Tire and Auto.
Heartland Tire and Auto treating you like family in Ankeny, Joaquin, Knoxville, Boone, and Creston. Maybe too late for today's ice to figure out your tires, but if you're slipping out there tonight, get over to Heartland Tire, one of their many locations. And,
don't be risking an Iowa winner with bald tires. You don't need to.
No, you don't want to do that. All right, let's throw it down. Iowa State's football schedule is out. Andy, which Big 12 home game? So you got Arizona, BYU, Arizona State, and Kansas. Which of those is most interesting to you?
Jeez. That's not a real winner there for home schedule. I don't care that much about the opponents usually. It's probably still Kansas. Is that wrong? I mean, they're an arch rival of Iowa State's. They are. BYU will be new. Murph will pick Arizona State because he's got a connection there, but I don't. Yeah. So I'll go with KU.
I think even without the connection, for me, it is Arizona State because they were a whisker from being in the semifinals of the college football playoff. They're the Big 12 champs, and they're playing it at Jack Troy Stadium for the first time. But, yeah, my connection to Colin makes it a no-doubter. All
right, Murph, ESPN bracketologist 𝘺elle now has the Iowa women safely in the big dance. But before Sunday's win against USC, he had the Hawkeyes and Cyclones facing off in a play-in game. Now, obviously, we want all of our teams to make it. But do you like the idea of a Cy-Hawk rematch in the NCAA tournament?
It won't happen, but heck yeah, I'd love this. I'm a story whore. This would be a great story.
No, I don't want that to happen. I want less Cy-Hawk infighting, not more.
Yeah, I kind of figured you would say that, Andy. All right, David Letterman was at Carver to see Caitlin Clark's number retirement on Sunday. Murph, if you had some sort of achievement ceremony, which celebrity would be the coolest to have show up?
Oh, geez, that's a good question. And
wow, that's a tough one to.
I know.
Yeah,
and I was thinking, like, if I could have Jay-Z and Beyonce comes too, like that'd be pretty cool. President Obama would be pretty cool, although we've already had him on the show. So
I don't want Diddy.
Real cool there.
It made me think of that.
Yeah, no Diddy.
No.
People are wondering, what are they doing afterwards?
Yeah, what? Letterman. I wish he would trim that beard a little bit. Like, guy, he looks like thin. He looks like Ozempic Santa Claus.
I'd have my man Wayne Gretzky, and I would be like, you know what, man, I am buying the Bud Ice this time.
There you go.
I'll steal that idea. I'm going to bring Johnny Bench and risk meeting my sports hero.
Have a dip with him. Yeah, be like, let's get some Skull.
That was cool to see Letterman there with the Bluters at courtside. That was awesome.
He was into it too. Time for the Andrew Downs audio drop of the day. We call it the AD Squared.
Yeah, it's powered by Game Day Men's Health. I go to the one in Ankeny in the Prairie Trail neighborhood. You can go to West Des Moines on University, or if you're on the eastern side of the state, North Liberty. They've been working wonders for a lot of us at Iowa everywhere. Actually just had a listener reach out to me this week and say, hey, I'm just about to start. I did the consultation. I'm going to start the testosterone replacement therapy, and just kind of asking, hey, what should I expect here? And so, feel free to reach out to me or any of us, Chris Williams, Chad Leisico, I'll do this as well. We'll be honest about it. We are honest about it. And it's nothing to be scared of. And more men talking about their health is certainly a good thing. We mentioned earlier, Cooper DeJean is prepping for the Super Bowl. During a recent practice with his teammate Darius Slay was mic'd up, and he had an interesting question for the former Hawkeye.
Hey, do it get warm in Iowa?
It'll get warm?
Yeah.
Yeah, it gets warm.
I just can never see Iowa being warm.
Only in the summertime, really.
Only summertime? Yeah. So y'all don't got no warm time but summertime?
Oh, jeez.
Nah, that's not it for me. You have to move.
Where's he from?
Not come
the equator?
Yeah. Not a geography major. Not a climatologist. Yeah, well, we were warmer this year, much more than just summer. Quickie poll results presented.
Born in Georgia.
That explains some of it. Although it's been colder there than Iowa this year, right?
Snow.
They've had more snow.
WCI pools and spas.
Which would you rather see? Super Bowl Saturday or the Monday after the Super Bowl Sunday becomes a national holiday.
Pretty split.
National Holiday Monday is the leader with 55% of the vote. I don't agree with that.
No, I don't either.
I do.
Hey, thank you for being part of Murph and Andy. Look for Andy in his
in the Yeti.
In his Yeti coat made of polyester sheep's wool coming up on the 13 News over at WHO. We thank you for being part of Iowa Everywhere. Please like and subscribe. And we're back Friday. We hope you are too.